Happening today in Arizona, Jeb Bush addresses a meeting of the Republican National Committee. He's spent the better part of the week trying to clarify comments he made on the war in Iraq. On Wednesday, the potential presidential candidate again tried to walk back remarks he made on Fox News. And this morning, 2016 rivals, including fellow Floridian and Senator Marco Rubio, are distancing themselves. Joining me now from the party meeting outside Phoenix is RNC's Sean Spicer. Sean, good to see you. Thanks for being with me this morning.
You bet, Jose. Thank you for having me.
So what are you guys going to achieve, or what's on the agenda at this meeting?
We've got a lot of great speakers. Last night we heard from Carly Fiorina, Senator Rick Santorum's talking today, as well as Governor Bush, as you mentioned. Tomorrow we'll hear from Governor Mike Huckabee, as well as Governor Doug Ducey, who represents the state here in Arizona. So we have a lot of great speakers that come in, talk to us about their vision for the future, where they want to see this country going. And then we do a lot of business. So we're talking about the rules. We're talking about the convention that's coming up in Cleveland that's exciting a lot of our members. And then we get through where we have to go as a party, talk about the outreach efforts that we've done to grow this party, what the successes that we had in our data and digital department in 2014, and how we're going to build on that to win in 2016.
Yeah, and Sean, so when you start looking at the list of potential of Republican candidates, I mean, if you started to print that out, you'd run out of ink. It seems that there are so many. How are you guys going to deal with that?
That's right. I really think when you go back and look historically, going back to the beginning of time, there's never been a party, as you're seeing this year, that's had the abundance of riches that we have. The depth of the people that are potentially running and have announced that they're running is unbelievable. We're looking at potentially up to 15 to 20 candidates that each could easily be the nominee of this party. I think it's remarkable that we have so much talent on our side. And it's a huge contrast to what's going on the other side, Jose. I think that's the real thing. You've got governors, senators, CEOs, neurosurgeon, all of this talent running on our side, talking about the vision for the future. On the Democratic side, you've got a coronation of Hillary Clinton, and I think that's going to be a huge contrast over the next few months as to what the two parties have to offer this country.
Sean, how surprised are you, going back to Jeb, that you see here at the primary, the latest Fox News poll show him at 13%, tied with Dr. Carson? How do you think that this whole issue of Iraq war is going to play? I mean, is this something that all Republicans should be answering?
Well, look, I mean, as you just said, I mean, we've got tens, up to 20 candidates potentially running. I think each one is running their own game. It's really early in the process, and I think that you're seeing a lot of support for a lot of different folks. I'm going to let each one of these candidates make their decisions as to what strategy they're going to employ, what they're going to comment on. But I think there's a lot of runway left in this campaign. Our first primary is until the first week of February, and there's going to be a lot of ups and downs between now and then.
And then, Sean, here's my other question, which I always, kind of bring up. The whole issue of immigration. Do you think that should be a discussed issue during the 2016 race? I mean, it seems as though in these 15 or 20 different candidates that may decide to run, there are vast differences on how they feel about immigration, with the exception of one or two of them. They're anti what would be considered immigration reform in a complete way.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we can all agree that the immigration system currently is broken, that we have a problem with border security, and I think each one of them is addressing it a certain way. But I dispute the notion that if you don't support opening the borders up and letting people in through what has been called amnesty, that's somehow anti-immigrant. I think we have a broken system here, and I think that each one of our candidates has started to talk about how to address it. And so I think that we are a nation of immigrants. All of us want a system that works better and is more fair.
We agree, but no one, 15 to 20 or 200, has said opening up the borders and letting everybody in indiscriminately is a policy. I think what the issue...
but you'd have Hillary Clinton that has said that she wants everyone to... There's a vast difference with what Hillary Clinton wants.
Right. The 11 or 12 million people that are here, who many of them have U.S.-born children, and many have been here 10 or 20 years or more. That, I think, is different than opening the borders. You'll agree with me on that, right?
Oh, yeah, there's a difference with that, but I think that how we handle that situation, but it's also, Jose, we've got people that are here that have come here illegally or overstayed illegally, but I think the question is, how do we prevent that going forward? And that's also an important debate, because you can't just deal with one without dealing with future border security, and I think that's important as well, and I think that is largely missed from the bigger debate.
That's great. So comprehensive immigration reform is something that you're saying is a good discussion to have.
I believe, sure, but I think how we define comprehensive,
right.
I think, again, getting back to the idea that the current system doesn't work, that our border isn't completely secure, has got to be the lead part of that discussion. So if that's what people mean by comprehensive, then yeah, let's have a comprehensive discussion. I think sometimes on the left, the discussion starts with what do we do with people who've come into the country or overstayed illegally, and that's not how you need to start a policy discussion on this.
Sean, thank you for being with me. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
You bet. Thank you for having me.